morning and welcome to U.S. Bank Business Watch. I'm Peg Rasconi. Billions of dollars are wagered on sports other than horse racing every year in Ohio, and none of it is legal. On the Business Courier front page centerpiece, big play on sports betting. Ohio is among many states considering whether to take their cut of those illegal wagers by legalizing sports betting. The Supreme Court opened the door last year when it overturned a decades-old law that prohibited betting on sports anywhere except Nevada. Before that, Americans wagered about $150 billion on sports illegally each year. 7 states have joined Nevada since by launching legal sports betting operations. 7 more, including Indiana, are working on making it operational. Kentucky legislators considered a bill but didn't have the votes to pass. It's expected to be considered again in 2020. And in Ohio, a bill is making its way through the state legislature. The hope is it will pass through quickly and legal betting will be running by the end of the year. A recent Oxford economics study estimated legalized sports betting could generate $2.6 billion a year in tax revenue and create 87,000 jobs. With so much at stake, Business Courier reporter Steve Watkins has written a primer on what you need to know. He is in the studio with Business Watch producer Kelly Leon.
Thanks, Peg. Steve, this is so timely because, like so many across the country, I cannot get enough of James Holzhauer on Jeopardy, who, of course, is a professional sports gambler.
Right.
And he's like raking it up on Jeopardy. So this is really timely for that. He lives in Las Vegas, though, so he's doing it legally.
Right.
So put it in perspective. Like, are we going to have like children are going to be like saying, I want to be a professional sports bettor like James Holzhauer?
Maybe they could do worse, it looks like, huh? Yeah, it's true. He has really added, I think, definitely some attention to that as sort of an activity, if not a profession. And, you know, as you said, the timeliness is that ties right in with the Supreme Court ruling a year ago. So now a lot of these states, as Peg mentioned, are starting to legalize it. Indiana just did, and they're about to launch it very soon. And Ohio is getting closer. So yeah, it's becoming a lot more common. Some of the people I talked to said this is going to be something that's going to be very widespread within a few years, growing kind of like the lottery did about 20 years ago. And Paul Basir, who I've spoken to, he's actually been on the show before, used to run Prediction Machine and now is a consultant for Amend Consulting. He handles data analytics. He said he thinks gambling is going to rise by 50% or even double once it's legal. More people are going to do it. It takes the stigma away.
And once it's legal, then we get the tax benefits of this. So talk a little bit about the benefits that we could see here in our region.
Yeah, it's pretty significant. I mean, a figure that was stunning to me is one of the American Gaming Association mentioned to me, Ohio makes probably about, or gets probably about $5 billion a year in illegal betting. So that's a ton of activity. And as we said, once it's legal, there will be more. The legislators I talked to in Ohio expect $60 million to $100 million a year in tax revenue from legalized sports betting. Kentucky is a little less, about 20 to 48 million is sort of the estimate there. And Indiana on the high end, about 20 million. But a good comparison is Pennsylvania. They launched it in November. They've already brought in $6 million in tax revenue. And those first few months, it was still ramping up. It was still low. So yeah, there's a lot of money to be had here.
Yeah, which could benefit a lot of people.
In Ohio, it would be the schools largely.
So how would it work? Where would you bet?
Yeah, well, it varies by state, but generally speaking, it's a lot of the casinos. That's how it's going to be in Indiana. So the Lawrenceburg, Rising Sun, VV casinos will be eligible to have it, and why wouldn't they if they can?
Exactly.
So that's likely to happen there. In Ohio, it'd be casinos and racinos. So here we'd have Jack Casino, most likely, in Belterra, Miami Valley Gaming. Kentucky is a little further off, but right now the bill that's going through would allow horse tracks. So we'd have Turfway, and then Kentucky Speedway could do it. So a lot of different places that you tend to bet anyway, for the most part.
Yeah. And how about professional sports teams? How would it affect our pro teams.
It's interesting. It is definitely going to change the way people watch and consume sports. Again, talking to Paul Bessier, he talked about how in Europe people bet in-game. The odds can change during a game if a team gets ahead or behind. And at soccer matches, there are a lot of places you can bet right at the stadium. Now, that's not going to happen immediately here, but down the road, he expects that to happen here. And we'll probably see a lot more promotion toward betting and just statistics and information that's aimed more at gamblers, things about point spreads and injuries and things like that. So it's definitely going to change the way people are consuming sports. It'll be interesting.
Quite a culture shift once it comes to be. So thanks, Steve. I'm sure you'll continue to watch it. Be sure to read Steve's primer in the print edition. It has lots more answers to lots more questions about this issue.
Thanks.